What in the world will my baby say? I got your eyes and your mistakes. You make a home.
How's it going, y'all? It is, of course, your boy Raymond back up in here with another review video, and today we have got the long-awaited album review for St. Vincent's new album, Daddy's Home. I've even got the shirt on and everything. All right, we're in the mood. We're ready to get into it. I'm ready to get into it. So let's go ahead and talk about why I think this album is so great. This was released last week, obviously. I needed some time to digest it and whatnot because it is sort of a not only lyrically but very instrumentally deep album, and so I wanted to sort of dive into what made it sound so good and also what I really enjoyed about it to begin with. I think a good starting point is really that first track, obviously, with Pay Your Way in Pain. You guys already know my thoughts on that track. I love that track so much, and I think that is such an insane start to the album, especially just because it is so explosive. There's like a certain tension throughout the track that just sort of holds you in, and it's like you're holding your chest, waiting for it to sort of explode. Annie delivers this long-winded yell by like the end of the track, which sort of releases all of the tension, and then the track just sort of ends. I think it's a really cool way to kick off this album, and I think it's a really good way to really put you into the era that St. Vincent is trying to portray here. From there, we get a couple of these more introspective tracks like Down and Out Downtown, and also Daddy's Home. Daddy's Home is sort of interesting because it's sort of talking about her and her relationship with her dad and how she went to go visit him in prison and stuff, but this was around the time when she was getting famous, so she was like signing autographs and like the waiting room and all that stuff. And so it's really interesting to see from her perspective how her relationship with her father sort of progressed as these events in her personal life were transpiring, and how the St. Vincent persona was sort of getting almost in the way of the relationship with her father, and obviously her father being in prison. It was like two things sort of colliding at the same time for her. It's really interesting because in the track Daddy's Home, she has these like manic scream vocals that happen towards like the middle of the track before like the really big build up in the ending. I just love those manic screams because it sort of just feels like something that she added in there. She wanted to portray how her head was feeling, like the inside of her brain is just like, it just wanted to get out. There was just so much emotion that she just had to release, so much pain, and I feel like those manic screams in that track sort of reveal that, especially when the background instrumentals are so like soothing and wavy. They're like very warm instrumentals and stuff like that, and then we have like these really cold-hearted, like loud, abrasive screams from Annie that I think make an interesting juxtaposition to the track. And then we have Livin' in the Dream, which is this incredibly long, almost like 1980s David Bowie era-esque track, in my opinion, where we have like this insane build up for about like the first 3 minutes of the track, and then the last half of the track. This track is 6 minutes long, and so we have like this really long build up for about 6 minutes, and then just this huge explosion at the end. Lyrically here, it's sort of a little dense and ambiguous, where I think she's trying to talk about her legacy and her being able to sort of live her dream as an artist and just be able to play music whenever she wants and all that jazz, and her sort of balancing that with instrumentals and sort of her showcasing her talents behind a guitar, that is. One of the big themes throughout this album is really her talking about legacy and her talking about how she is trying to cope with the world as it is now that she has all of this claim to fame and whatnot. And also her just sort of taking her perspective of the era that she's trying to portray, as in like the, you know, the 70s, the Stevie Wonder era, the Nina Simone era, giving a huge dedication of this album to Candy Darling as well, who I looked into. Instrumentally, this whole album is just so rich and is just so it's a lot more wavy and a lot more psychedelic than I was really expecting, especially with the teaser tracks that we got for Pay Your Way in Pain and Down. We got a little bit of the sense of that with Melting of the Sun, but really Pay Your Way in Pain, Down, and like My Baby Wants a Baby, those are like the more explosive tracks here. And then the rest of the album is sort of these really warm, really soothing, almost like, you know, guitar ballads in a way, but the instrumentation is great. Obviously, her and Jack Antonoff have done a great job in the studio. From what I was looking at with her interviews, they had a lot of really good chemistry, and they're both really great musicians overall, so they had a lot of fun just making this album. Being able to play instruments, like there's a lot of really beautiful guitar passages, obviously, from Annie. Jack does a great job on piano as well. There's some really nice piano parts on this album as well. And then also the drums, which I think were a little bit unexpected on this album. The drums feel slightly minimal, similar to how Jack Antonoff does on like a lot of his other projects. The drums on this album feel very warm and they feel very alive, and they're mixed really well. Like all of the mixing is pretty great. How this album really compares to a lot of her earlier stuff is really interesting, because on a lot of her earlier stuff, such as Marry Me, such as Actor, and even Strange Mercy to an extent, this feels like way more of a stripped down era of St. Vincent that I haven't really seen before. I guess you could mostly say it's similar to a lot of her earlier work from Actor and Marry Me. I feel like this just borrows so much from the era that she's trying to portray that it is just completely different, and it is really exciting to see that she was able to capture so much of this era, and also just be able to give just like such a warm and such an embracing feeling to this album, while also dealing with a lot of subject matter that is really cold and really harsh, and a little bit darker as well. Where this ranks in terms of my favorite St. Vincent albums, I would probably say I still think Actor is probably my favorite St. Vincent album, to be honest, and then probably her self-titled, and then I want to say either Mass Seduction or maybe Daddy's Home would probably come around after her self-titled. So probably about my third favorite album from her. Nonetheless, I don't think she's made a bad project yet, to be honest. So I love all of her work, and I love what she's done with this album, and I can't wait to continue to listen to this for the rest of the year. I think for this album, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty solid, and that just shows you guys how much I love her Actor and her self-titled as well. But yeah, I think an 8 is pretty solid for this album, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend that you guys do. That was St. Vincent, Daddy's Home. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe down below so you guys can keep up on the new videos that are going to be coming out later this week. I know Lana Del Rey just released 3 new tracks with Mike Dean out of nowhere. Had no idea this was even a thing, especially since Jack Antonoff was actually worked with her on her previous record that I reviewed about like a month ago. So her working with Mike Dean and then all of a sudden releasing these 3 singles is really surprising to me. But I'll be sure to do a reaction to those 3 coming up this week. And also, since tomorrow is New Music Friday, maybe there's going to be some more stuff that I'll have to review. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you guys for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Be sure to go check out Daddy's Home by St. Vincent. And I will see you guys in the next video.
Like a bird in reverse, what I